So, no Fefe, it was a cool story. So last week, Coach Moival's mother passed away. And so when he was playing at Oregon State, she was kind of the team mom. And so Coach Ciamalo talked to our team about it on Friday. When they were leaving for a trip, right, she would always get on the team bus, which is like crazy, right, for a parent to get on our team bus, you know? But she would get on the team bus, and she would get on each bus, and she would pray for everybody, and then she would say no fefe, which in Samoan translates to no fear. And so we wore those shirts in honor of her and Coach Moival.
And then it seemed like maybe there were some different types of play calls. I mean, how did you guys go about the play calling duties on Saturday?
Yeah, so I know that's a hot topic. When we first brought Coach Babers in here, from the beginning, the intent was for him to really help the young coaches grow and develop. And he's been doing a fantastic job with the offensive staff. And watching that over time, we felt like going into the bye week was the right time for Coach Atkins to, with the help of Dino, to kind of step into that role. And with the game against Utah, we felt like it was a strategic advantage for us to not disclose that before. And so that was how we approached it. And, Coach Babers he was on board with this. He's been great about it. We've had a lot of conversations about it. And he's incredibly supportive of Matt and the staff, and everyone's working really well together. And Coach Babers is such an important part of what we're doing here. And I really, really value his contribution to our offense, to the players, to the coaching, and to the mentorship he's providing for our young coaches.
Sicario Davis was the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week. He had 5 pass breakups in that game. I don't think any pass interference calls against him. What stood out about his performance, and just what stands out about him in terms of his length? How that's able to translate into production?
Yeah, I mean, what an incredible game by our whole defense, right? That was, I thought, outstanding. And in order to make those plays, we also need incredible push up front, and the front seven was fantastic. I thought our D-line was just excellent. But it's great to see Sicario smiling and having fun. I think he really cut it loose and enjoyed the moment. He responded to the big stage and the big crowd the way you would expect him to. And as a lifetime receiver, player, coach, the space I've always operated in, the number one thing you don't like dealing with as a wideout or someone that's coaching them is length. I'm just telling you, like that was when I was game planning, that's the number one thing I was looking for was length and how we were going to negotiate that. Just because it's, especially with some of our receivers are bigger body guys. And so you like to use those big body guys against smaller people, right? It's harder for those smaller corners to work around somebody like T-Mac because he's 6'4.5" and 215 pounds, right? But with Bobo, he's got such length that length becomes a problem. He can take vertical speed off you, and then he can get his hands on footballs a lot of other guys can't.
Just to kind of follow on that, Brent, in the totality of Sicario's performance, obviously he had the big plays in the end zone, knocking balls down, 4th down. He did give up some plays in space to Dorian. How do you grade those plays in the totality of his performance?
I think when you're going against the type of caliber people that we're going to go against week in and week out, I think guys are going to make plays. And I think the challenge for any great corner is how do you respond to the play that was made, right? I mean, it's any great player, but it's at that corner position where you're out there, you're so naked, right? Like the whole world sees those matchups so clearly. And so those corners have to be like a pitcher that just gave up a home run because they got to line up the next play, right? And I thought Bobo did a great job answering that time and time again, as did the rest of our secondary. I thought Manny played a great game, so there's a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah, the adjustments you made there with Manny moving in there at the corner spot, Tolofo and Johnson getting their first stats down front would allow those guys to be able to ascend in those positions.
Sure.
Jason?
What went into Alexander Hughes getting the start? What would be sure you didn't in that spot?
Some of it was we were a little bit banged up, and he got a lot of reps during the week, and we were so proud of him. I had this awesome moment walking out of the tunnel with him after the game, and you could just see how proud he was of himself and how he played. And we're all really excited about that. I thought our offensive line was excellent, right? Like, to give up no sacks against that group, right? Like, that's one of the, year in and year out, that's one of the best defensive fronts in the country every year. Fantastically coached, right? Like, between Morgan and Coach Witt, like, that's always one of the best defenses in the country. And to go into their place and give up 0 sacks, I think is an incredible performance by all those guys.
And then, this is the fourth game this past. Do you have the redshirt conversations, or how do you approach that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's some guys that are still trying to figure that out, and we'll figure that out probably in the next couple days. And then there's other guys that are kind of on the ready. And depending on, I don't want a player to play or to use a year and not play, right? That doesn't make any sense to me. So if a freshman decides to play, or we decide to play a freshman, he is in the game. And I will be on everyone's rear end about that. If we're saying that he's going to play, then he's going to play.
Brian? Before halftime, the play that looked like it was a fumble recovery, but then there was no review. Why was there no review, and what were you able to do or not able to do to try to ask for one?
Because we went into a timeout. It was a television timeout at that time. So that gave them 4 minutes to look at it. So I wasn't going to challenge it. Like, the guys on the headset, I'm talking to them, they're watching the replay. And so they're like, it's close. And so then I'm talking to the officials, and they're like, no, we're looking at it, we're still looking at it. And so at that point, I'm not going to want to challenge that.
So they did say that they looked at it?
Of course, yeah.
Michael? A couple just strategy questions from the fourth quarter when Kean scored. It was 22-10. A lot of people thought maybe you should go for 2
Yeah.
at that point. What was your thought process?
That's fair. It was just the kind of the automatic with Tyler, that part of it, not wanting to give them any momentum. I don't know if you guys felt the swings of momentum in that game were so drastic, right? And so, I'm pretty sure that drive was, like, that was the penalty on the kickoff return. Is that right? That was the penalty on the kickoff return. So I think we started the drive on the 13-yard line, right? And then we converted, and that place was rocking, right? I can't wait for Arizona Stadium this weekend to be rocking like that. Like, I cannot wait. Our first Big 12 game, I cannot wait. But to answer your question, it was so loud in there. We had the 3rd and 11 that we converted to Devin Hyatt. Awesome play by Devin, awesome throw by Noah. And then that drive, it continued to extend, and then Kean made the play. So I just decided to take the points, and our defense was playing well.
And you obviously have a lot of faith in Tyler. You talked about it after the game. But 56-yard field goal, that's long.
Yep.
And if he misses, which he did, the field position,
Right.
What was the thought process there as opposed to maybe trying to...
I think I felt like the down and distance was long, right? Right, to go for it. It's like fourth and nine. 4th and 9, so I thought it was too long, and I thought we were a little bit too close to punt it. If we punt it and it goes out of the end zone, it's a 15-yard differential. I really it came down to the talent and what a great player Tyler Loop is. And so I was just like, no, let's let Tyler bang this thing through, and he didn't. But then our defense came out and played great defense. So, also some of that goes into like how your defense is playing at the time.
As fantastic as Tyrone McMillan has been for this team, he's looking a little tired at the end of games.
Yep.
And the statistics bear that out. And you need him at the end of games. And knowing him in a full preseason, where is his conditioning at, and what do you feel about that?
Well, the thing, it's a hard thing about it, right? Because T-Mac is such a great player. You want him on the field all the time. You also know that you need to spell him so that you can have his best, at the end of a game, when it's needed. And that is a coaching. I've fought that my whole life with great wide receivers. I had the same problem at Oregon State with Brandon Cooks. I was like, and the offensive play caller's on there, and he's like, why isn't Cooks in there? It's 3rd down. I'm like, just because you just ran him on back-to-back verticals, he has no juice. It's just it's a hard one. And he is in great shape. He also plays incredibly hard. He blocks hard. We have him running all over the field. We're moving him at all different positions, and he's, we're asking a lot of him also. And so there's a balance there for us offensively. Also, I thought it was great to see Devin show up on Saturday Night Hyatt. I thought it was great. Chris Hunter starting to make some moves out there for us. Jeremiah Patterson. So we're starting to have some other guys that we can get T-Mac out for a little bit and just give him a blow and have confidence with who we're putting out there.
Last question to Justin. What did you make of the defensive line and how they performed? Was there anything different about their approach this week or last week?
I don't think there was anything different about their approach, but they did play great. I think that was just fantastic. I thought Trey Smith was outstanding. Stanley T was so good. There were so many guys that contributed. And then when you combine how Jacob Manu played and just the overall physicality we played with, that was to me the most exciting part of that game was the physicality that we displayed on both sides of the ball, right? Because I think we ran for 160, 170 almost, right? 6.9 a carry. No one's done that to them in like 2.5 years, I think. And I think that was exciting for me. And then what our defense, we held them to 84 yards rushing. Like that's always one of the best rushing teams in the country with the quarterback run component. With Wilson, I thought it was just an outstanding effort that way. And the physicality was really something that I was really excited about.
All right, that's our time.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Coach Rivera.